Hello. What's up, everyone? If you're new here, welcome. I'm Chardeney. I'm a podcaster, videographer, and creative entrepreneur. And today I'm going to be talking about Patreon. I'm going to be talking about how to start one and why I'm launching mine. So if you are new to the world of Patreon, Patreon is a membership platform for creators to provide exclusive access to their work and to gain a deeper connection with their communities. In my case, it's basically like a Netflix account, but only for the videos and content I create. It's also a way for artists to not be starving artists, and it allows creatives to keep creating for the people who want to support their work. So as you all know, if you have been subscribed to my channel for a while, and if you're not, you should be because you're missing out, but I enjoy sharing the behind the scenes of what it's like as a podcaster and videographer and how I'm navigating life as a creative entrepreneur. However, creating these types of videos takes a bit of work. Actually, it takes a lot of work, especially because I still have a full-time job and I also run my own freelance videography business on the side. I don't want to burn myself out and lose the enthusiasm, momentum, and just pure joy that I have for this craft because I'm constantly creating and working. Also, while I enjoy making these videos here on YouTube, I don't think it necessarily builds community. With my Patreon, I'll be able to connect with those who are truly into these videos because, number one, I'll be able to go more in depth about certain topics and be able to do so comfortably, knowing that certain information is shared behind a paywall and I'm not just sharing info to random viewers who stumble across my channel. And number two, most importantly, the folks who join, you all will be paying for it. So it's going to hold us all accountable for continuing to pursue our creative ventures. I'm hoping this will be like a gym membership, but for creative people. You get it because you want to go and better yourself, but creatively. Now, some of you might be thinking, wouldn't making a Patreon just create more work for you by making more videos for you to edit? And how exactly do you build community on Patreon? Well, my friends, I'm not only going to tell you, but I'm also going to show you all how I set up my Patreon page. So if you are someone who is thinking about doing it, hopefully by watching me set up my account, this will make the process a little more easy by doing it together. Because I'm trying this out for the first time, so you can stick around and support, or you can stick around and see if I F this up. Either way, it is what it is, and I'm going to be documenting and sharing my experience with the hope that by sharing my approach, this will maybe spark some ideas for you if you're thinking about launching a Patreon. Personally, I know seeing someone else share their process and journey has helped give me the courage on many occasions to go out and just do the things I'm interested in, which is why I enjoy both watching and creating videos for others. So let's start with building community. What exactly do I mean by community? This is one of those topics that I think is very important because I think whether you are working in a freelance capacity or corporate setting, it's similar to what's the company culture? What's the vibe? What is it giving? And the vibe I'm going for is the soft life, but for the creative entrepreneur or content creator. It's going to be giving main character energy, but for the creative entrepreneur. For the content creators and creative entrepreneurs, it's our time. It's our time, okay? Let me just stop being so silly. But it's going to be for my creatives that are just looking for inspiration and information as you are starting your content creation journey or trying to navigate life as an entrepreneur. This is essentially for the folks who already show up and consistently watch my videos or my work and want to support my efforts to keep these videos coming. Now, I'm going to keep it straight up with y'all because I hate it when I buy something or I go somewhere because somebody on the marketing team knows how to do their job a little bit too well and they hype something up to be more than what it actually is. Yeah, we're not doing none of that over here. What you see here on YouTube is essentially where you're going to get on Patreon. If you currently like what I'm doing, then you'll be able to appreciate what I'm building and trying to create over there. There will be early access to these videos. I'll occasionally have extended videos and clips where I go more in depth on certain topics. And of course, I'll be shouting out those who are showing up and supporting the Patreon. Now, the community part will be that the conversations and topics discussed will be behind a paywall. So over there, you can air it out. There won't be a random person responding to a comment you made and it's not even relevant to the video or maybe even the topic. Y'all know how it can sometimes get over here on YouTube. It's no shade, but sometimes sharing information publicly can sometimes invite voices and opinions into the conversation, and I'm trying to get ahead of that and protect a bit of my creative process and peace of mind by creating a Patreon for those who are genuinely trying to get to know me and interested in supporting my work. And for those of you who just like what I have to say or what I choose to share as it relates to entrepreneurship and content creation. This will be a low lift community. So if you think you are high maintenance and you want me to have exclusive mugs and hats and t-shirts and giveaways and stuff like that, then this is not what this is at the moment. However, I do have a special offer to the first 5 members who join. Maybe someday I can get there, but at the moment, I'm offering for the community that really connects with my videos and my work to join and support so I can continue to share videos here on YouTube and create the space for the folks who are creative entrepreneurs to openly discuss various topics. This is my journey of me figuring it out, sharing my experiences, and finding and connecting with like-minded individuals, whether you are a content creator, creative entrepreneur, or a freelance videographer. I'm basically hoping to connect with people in this space along the way. So let's go over to my computer so I can show you all how I'm setting up my account and what this will look like to build a low-lift creative community. Here is a little sneak peek and behind the scenes of what it looks like on my Patreon page here on the back end. So I'm first going to start with talking about the layout. I went ahead and you can make the color scheme of your page whatever color that you have. So I just pretty much stuck with the color palette that I use on my other social media platforms. I went ahead and uploaded this banner. I kept it super simple and straight to the point. It is my logo, which is my first and last name, and then a few of the subheaders, which are the topics that I primarily talk about. I talk about podcasting, my journey as a freelance videographer and creative entrepreneur. And then I just uploaded a few little other social media icons for the other platforms that I am engaging on. Now, below, I have also entered in a little bit of a welcome note for those who might have stumbled across my Patreon from just browsing through the Patreon feature. Maybe they're looking for someone in the podcast or videography niche, and I just put this little welcome note so that way they will know what my channel is about. And then for those who are more of visual people, it's just a reiteration of what I stated up here of what to expect from my channel. It's super short, sweet, and straight to the point. Now, the membership part, the tier part, this is what I see on my end. But if you go over to my Patreon page, you all will only see this option. And I kind of wanted to talk through my thought process as I was creating this. And for me, as I was setting up my tiers and I was doing my research into Patreon, I noticed how there's some other creatives. They have fun little names for each of their tiers and they offer different tier pricing. So I had 5, 10, 15, and 20. But as I started to make these different tiers, I also found myself wanting to add different things to offer in each of these tiers. However, because I want the content that I'm sharing to be accessible to anyone who comes across my page, I was operating on a pay what you can model. So each tier offers the same perks. But then when I did that, I was like, okay, so what would make someone pay $5 versus $20? And I found myself going into this just kind of loophole and feeling stagnant, trying to come up with all these different things. And I found myself creating extra work. And I was like, okay, this is counterproductive to what I said I wanted to create. So I completely scratched all these different tiers, and instead I just opted in for this one tier. Now, some of you all are probably thinking like, how did I come up with sample shot, juice box, glass, and I am all in? So if you follow me over on YouTube, I talk about the lifestyle aspect of being a creative entrepreneur, and one of the things I like to do is I like to juice. And also I wanted to play off my name because my name is a wine, which is Chardeney. So I was like, okay, this would be cool to kind of just go from sample shot to juice box, a glass of wine, or the full spread, and say I'm all in. But like I said, I'm trying to keep things simple. And so I just decided to go with juice box. And the title that I put here is Get Your Creative Juices Flowing. And then I simply just listed out what to expect from joining my Patreon. And so you can expect early access to my content, private creative community combos, work in progress updates, and behind the scenes content. Let's jump into my about section. Now, again, we are aiming for the soft life, so to speak, for the content creator, the podcaster, videographer, creative entrepreneur, whatever you like to call it. That's what we are aiming for. So I am not the type of person where I like to reinvent the wheel. So those are some of the terms that I search for within Patreon to see how other people approach setting up their about section. And the biggest takeaway for me that I learned is some key points to include in this section is letting people know who you are and what to expect from your Patreon page. So down here, you'll see I've listed out and I've set up bullet points of topics I plan to cover and what to expect from my Patreon page. And for me, I also think it's important to be transparent as a creative, especially if you're asking folks for money. Let them know where their contributions are going and what the funds are being used for. So I have a brief little section here so that way you all will know what your money is going towards. And then also something I thought that was cute and fun was to let you all know how I plan to engage and interact with you all. Since you all will be supporting me here on Patreon, I decided to call you all my creative crew because that's essentially what you all are doing. You all are virtually supporting me on my creative journey. My Patreon will be a place where I am sharing the behind the scenes of my work in progress or challenges or how I am thinking about approaching something. And this will be a place where all those things will live that I don't necessarily feel comfortable sharing over on YouTube publicly. So if you're curious to know what I currently have up on my Patreon, I already have a podcast prep sheet. This is for my folks who are podcasters, so that way you can go over and preview this. You can get a little bit of inspiration. It is a free digital download. This is something that I have found within my own process that has been helpful, especially if you don't want to be redundant or just create extra work for yourself, constantly saying the same thing when you invite guests onto your show, whether it is a new interviewee or a seasoned guest or someone who has been on a ton of different podcasts. A podcast prep sheet for me is something that I like to send out to folks through an email and say, hey, this is how you can best prepare for the show, so that way they are not just thrown into the process and they have a heads up of what to expect. That's already up and available over on the Patreon. So if you're interested in any of these things that I've talked about and you're curious to know about projects I'm working on, my thought process, things of that nature, head over to my Patreon and check it out. So that's all I have to share with you all. Hopefully, I'll see you over on Patreon, but if not, I'll catch you all in my next video. Bye.